Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of What's the Word? Today is Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020, and today is the 1-year anniversary of my very first episode of What's the Word? So, for today's episode, I have 3 sources of word to give God all the glory, honor, and praise that He deserves. First source of word comes from Psalms 118, verse 24, which reads, "This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." The second comes from 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, which reads, "Study and do your best to present yourself to God approved, a workman tested by trial, who has no reason to be ashamed, accurately handling and skillfully teaching the word of truth." The final comes from Exodus 14:14, which is the very first scripture that I presented on What's the Word, and it reads, "The Lord will fight for you while you only need to keep silent and remain calm." And from all that, I just want to say I'm extremely grateful to be in the position that I am now. I started recording this on my cell phone, and here I am recording from my MacBook. I started in the kitchen. Here I am in my room with the whole setup. So I'm extremely blessed and extremely grateful. You know it wouldn't be What's the Word without some scoreboard watching, so let's get straight to it. About a week and a half ago, back on Tuesday of last week, the Washington Mystics faced the Phoenix Mercury in the first round of the WNBA playoffs, and the Mystics were eliminated on a buzzer-beating 3 by none other than Shea Petty, a member of their 2019 championship team. So that ended the Mystics' run, but it was surprising that they even got into the playoffs considering their season. Next up was NFL action on Sunday. The Baltimore Ravens defeated the Houston Texans 33-16. Another dominant effort for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson again with another MVP effort. Next up for the Ravens is Monday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. As for the Washington football team, they lost 30-15 to the Arizona Cardinals. Again, another slow start for them. They didn't look like they came to play in the first half. By the time they got things together in the second half, it was a little too late. Not another comeback in store for them. Next up for Washington is a trip to Cleveland and a matchup against the Browns. Starting off the news segment of this episode with the Washington Capitals, as the Caps hired Peter Laviolette to be the 19th head coach in franchise history. Laviolette has Stanley Cup pedigree, lifting the cup in 2006 with the Carolina Hurricanes, as well as making it to the finals before losing in 2010 with the Philadelphia Flyers and 2017 with the Nashville Predators. General Manager Brian McClellan had a lot of praise for Laviolette, saying, "I think he checks a lot of boxes for us. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a track record of accomplishment. He does a good job motivating players, holding players accountable. He does a good job of reestablishing team identities." So a lot of praise for Laviolette, and I'm excited for the move. I know I said that I was looking forward to Gerard Gallant getting the job, but I am not disappointed with the job going to Laviolette. More news for the Capitals, as defenseman John Carlson did not win the Norris Trophy for the best defenseman in the league. He finished second in voting behind Nashville's Roman Josi, but he was given a consolation prize as he was named an NHL First Team All-Star. Moving on to Major League Baseball, where the league announced that they have adopted a bubble format for their 2020 postseason. None of this actually matters, however, for the DMV, as both the Orioles and Nationals are unlikely to make the postseason. However, some news is that the World Series will be held at the Texas Rangers' new stadium in Arlington. Globe Life Field. So look forward to that, but don't get to see either of my teams in the postseason. This episode is full of announcements, the next one coming out of Major League Soccer as the league announced the remainder of their 2020 regular season schedule. For DC United, they currently sit in 13th place, but just 1 point out of the 9th and final Eastern Conference spot. For DC United, their remaining schedule is as follows. October 3rd against Atlanta United, then at the New York Red Bulls, followed by Chicago FC, Philadelphia Union, FC Cincinnati, back to Atlanta against United, the Columbus Crew, New England Revolution, and Decision Day against the Montreal Impact. Things have not fared too well for them in the restart, as they've only won one match, but anything can happen as they push forward to Decision Day. And you guessed it, another announcement, this time out of the NBA, as the 2020 draft has been scheduled for November the 18th. This comes after the initial date of October the 16th was pushed back. Also coming from Commissioner Adam Silver, he said that he doesn't believe next season will start until January 2021. Not December 1st, but January 2021. As for the Washington Wizards, rookie forward Rui Hachimura was named to the NBA's All-Rookie Second Team. But for Bradley Beal, he was left off completely of the All-NBA teams. Another slight of Bradley Beal, he's on a losing team, but he should be considered one of the best players in the league, not an all-star and not on an all-NBA team. It's starting to affect his money, so you gotta feel for the guy. The final announcements come out of college sports. First, in college football, as the Big Ten announced they will commence their football season starting the weekend of October 24th. The season will consist of an 8-game schedule with the potential of a 9th cross-seed matchup. For Maryland, who is the team I root for and work for, their schedule consists of Northwestern, followed by Minnesota, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, Indiana, Michigan, and Rutgers. They only have 8 weeks to get 8 games in, and as you've seen in college sports around the world, or around the country, there have been some postponements due to COVID, so still yet to see if this can actually happen, but at least they're hypothesizing it. The next announcement from the NCAA comes as men's and women's basketball will tip off the day before Thanksgiving, that being November the 25th. Schedules are still to be determined, so more on that as it comes. The last thing I want to talk about is the UFC's unaddressed problem, and that is Colby Covington. Colby is a great fighter, but sometimes his mouth gets him into a lot of trouble. And after his TKO victory over Tyron Woodley, Covington was back at it again. This is a guy that wears a Make America Great Again hat, so, I'm going to say that politics are politics, but at some point you have to draw the line. After his TKO victory, he said that Black Lives Matter is a complete sham. It's a joke. They're taking people that are complete terrorists. These are bad people. So obviously the UFC isn't going to step in at that part because, Dana White is an avid Trump supporter. These are the same words that Donald Trump speaks all the time. Dana White has spoken at the Republican National Convention, so I'm sure that Colby Covington is probably his favorite guy of all time. But the part that I have an issue with, other than calling LeBron James a spineless coward, is his interaction with welterweight champion Kamaru Usman, who of course is Nigerian. He said in a talk that he had with Usman, Who did you get a call from? Did you get a call from your little tribe? They give you some smoke signals? And that completely crosses the line. That goes from just spewing hate to flat out xenophobia, and the UFC has got to do something. But to round out the episode with a little bit of positivity, here is some trivia from You Gotta Know Sports. This is the Baltimore edition, and this is a 7-point question. In 1952, what two Baltimore schools took part in the first interracial basketball game played south of the Mason-Dixon line? Of course, I'm a broke boy, so no actual prize, but you will get some praise from me. So if you have the answer, leave it in the comments below. But that's it for today's episode. Thank you for everybody who has supported me this far. Here's to another year and another year after that. God bless.